Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Health Care, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome to the You and Your Doctor, Living a Longer and Healthier Life show. We're going to be talking a lot about health and sports this evening, as well as other issues as well that chiropractic can help you with. So I have here tonight Dr. Sandra Doman. She's a DC, Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center. So we're so happy to have her, and I'm going to get right into it. Dr. Doman, welcome to the program. How are you doing this evening?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I always say on this adventure of health, we've never talked about sports chiropractic, and I'm getting that kind of wrong. But
Chiropractic, close.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about your medical specialty and what you do, because I feel like it's a little more unique than general chiropractic.
Well, thank you. I like to think it's unique. So I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and we specialize in diagnosing and treating disorders of the neuromusculoskeletal system, as well as the effect of these disorders on the overall health of the body. And the way in which we're unique is that we have an almost identical education to a common medical doctor. However, when it comes to the treatment portion of the show, that's where we divert and we use non-drug, non-surgical based interventions, not just to get people out of pain, but also to teach them how to stay well.
That's great. And I want to mention before I forget, Dr. Doman wrote the foreword for a book, Putting the 4 Secret Body Locks, that her husband, a PGA Tour coach, wrote. It looks like an amazing book. I haven't had a chance to take a look, but Miguel Angel Jimenez, who I believe he won the British Open once. I'm thinking back. I know golf pretty well. And Bernard Langer, who I know very well, great putter as well, 2 pro golfers. They have a little foreword in the book as well. The first person who calls into 1-888-565-1470 will get you a copy of this book, and I'll mention that a couple more times. But yeah, you're an author as well. That's great.
Thank
you. You specialize a lot in, you're saying, a lot of golf injuries.
So I do focus on a more active population as well as pro athletes. And in recent years, since working with Eric, I focus a lot more on golf. Eric discovered a technique by working with those who are afflicted with Parkinson's disease, a way of naturally locking the body down to minimize variables so people play way better golf that he uses not just with amateurs but with touring pros as well. And I am able to contribute with regards to decreasing pain and improving athletic performance. So I love working with golfers because while back pain and sciatica and shoulder pain are very common in golf, they're definitely not normal. And so the system that we have at my practice, which focuses on improving the structure so that we can improve the function of the golfer, is something I've really enjoyed doing.
That's great as well. And you have a philosophy, treat and release. Mm-hmm. I really like that on your website, drdoman.com. I'll mention that a few more times too. What does that mean, treat and release, coming from doctors?
So chiropractors historically have been vilified for once they start seeing a patient that we keep you forever. And that's certainly not the case. You know, we're happy to see you and be partners with patients over a lifetime. But I practice what I call a treat and release philosophy, which is that I treat people in pain and I give them a system, I give them a plan to stay well through the decades of their life.
That's great as well. It's drdoman.com. And what I was doing there is sharing on Facebook as well. Like I said, the first person to call in, we're going to get him a copy of this book as well. Now, Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center, tell us a little bit about that, because Yoga Center is on the back of that. You're actually a certified registered yoga coach.
I am.
And where is that, and what kind of treatments do you do on site there?
Okay. So I founded the practice in 2010. Many, many moons ago, before I became a chiropractor, I actually had back pain myself. And I went to some of the best orthopedists in the country, neurologists, physical therapy. This is when I was living in New York City. And nobody was able to make my back pain better. So I went to the chiropractor. I got probably 80% better. And it wasn't until I discovered yoga and started practicing that on a regular basis that I got 100% better. So that was the inspiration for me to create this multidisciplinary practice. And we have yoga as a physical therapy in my practice, because this does two things. Number one, it gets people out of pain. Number two, it teaches them how to decrease stress. And then number three, it gives them a new lifestyle habit to do outside of my practice so they can keep themselves well.
And you've been, you created that in 2010, so almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I read on the website, it's Miami's first physician-supervised yoga therapy center.
That's correct.
That's fantastic as
Thank
well. Now, and also, do you help, it says also a satellite facility at Gulfstream Park for the jockeys. Now, jockeys use yoga to, enhance their performance?
So the jockeys, maybe they do it on the time that they're not racing, but I have a satellite clinic down inside the jockeys room at Gulfstream Park. I've been there for probably 9 years at this point. And when I go visit on site, mostly during the winter meet, we go every single week to check their spine for misalignments, to adjust them, do chiropractic care, cupping, massage, soft tissue work, and acupuncture.
Okay, well, cupping and acupuncture as well. I've actually experienced both. I'm a big advocate of acupuncture. I had not a bad knee injury, but something that I really didn't think I needed surgery for. I went to an acupuncturist over time, because you got to give it time, right?
Correct.
That is an important thing. If my mom's watching as well, give it time, okay? And I know it's going to take a little while. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a build-up of that type of care, but it really helped my left knee. This is kind of when I was a sous chef in the area as well, so I was going down into coolers a lot and that kind of thing as well. So that really helps as well. And cupping, I've only had it done once, but tell us a little bit about that, because we see like Michael Phelps, like I think that's the most famous one after the Olympics. He had all those cut marks on his back, but what does that actually do?
So it's typically performed by either a Chinese medicine doctor or a licensed massage therapist, who I bring to Gulfstream or have at my practice. So at least from my perspective, working around the joints, we all know that soft tissue can turn hard. So when we're thinking about the pain that people have around their necks, their traps, their backs, their hips, we can either dig in and create pressure, what I call deep tissue torture, or we can use this gentle sucking mechanism, either with fire cups or the plastic sucking type cups, which suck all the metabolic waste and the lactic acid and all the junk to the surface, after which your body can go and clean that stuff away. So I find that when we use cupping along with chiropractic, it makes things go better, faster, and with less pain.
That's great news as well. I didn't know you did that, so I'm glad you brought that up. Again, we're here with Dr. Sandra Doman. She's a DC Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center. If you have the chance, check out the website, drdoman.com. It's drdoman.com. 2450 Northeast Miami Gardens Drive, Suite 103 in Miami. So she's local, South Florida. Phone number's 305-932-2218. I know you do convenient hours, but also by appointment as well. That's so great, because we all have busy lives.
That's correct.
But before I forget, I want to go back to yoga, because I had a conversation with a friend, a woman who was actually, I couldn't believe this when I heard this. She hurt herself stretching, doing yoga. She stretched her knee tendon so much and blew out her ACL, had to have ACL surgery and recovery, etc. I never would think that ever happened, but unless you learn how to do yoga or have a physician supervising you do physician supervised yoga. I mean, I guess that can happen. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I have.
Wow.
Yeah. So the positives of more Americans, hundreds of millions of Americans practicing more yoga, is that with any physical activity, people can overdo it, and so we're hearing a little bit more about yoga injuries. And so what I like to tell patients is, number one, if they have an injury, be sure to be checked out by your doctor first before starting a yoga program. And then number two, there's many different flavors of yoga. There's gentle therapeutic type yoga. There's those of us who implement it in more of a physical therapy session. And then there are the way more gymnastic, bendy, twisty types of yoga, which may be where your friend was injured. And to use your intuition if you are experiencing sharp, unrelenting pain and your gut is telling you not to go further into a yoga posture, you're allowed to listen to yourself. And I know that as we get better trained yoga teachers, including through the International Association of Yoga Therapists, once we get these better trained yoga teachers, it will also be a way safer setting for the masses.
Definitely, because like acupuncture, it takes time to learn yoga. And also, I was thinking, all these hot yoga places, they probably allow your body to stretch a little more than you probably should if you're like an amateur, like if I was to start yoga, so I imagine that plays into it as well. So you're Miami's first physician supervised yoga therapy center, sports chiropractor, Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center as well. I want to mention one more time, we're going to be giving out this book. It's called Putting the 4 Secret Body Locks by Eric Kaplan. He's a PGA Tour coach. Also, your husband, you were telling me? That's great. And you did the foreword in this book. So
so I didn't actually write the foreword. I think the foreword, that's okay. I think the foreword was written by Bernhard Langer.
You're correct. 2-time Masters champion. With Dr. Sandra Doman and Bob Ford.
Yeah, so I focused on the biomechanics pieces. So he has these anatomical body locks that help to minimize the variables of putting in the golf swing, which are just unbelievable. And I did all the anatomy and biomechanical pieces.
First person who calls into 1-888-565-1470 gets the copy. So call in. We have about 1 minute before the break, and I want to get into this a little bit, and then we can kind of piggyback on the other side. So you work with pro athletes in the Miami area or South Florida. Obviously, we have a ton of NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball players. So how did that come about? Because that's not, they're putting their confidence and livelihood, just like the jockeys are. These are great connections, and that says something for the care you provide.
Thank you. So the best referrals, especially from my pro athlete patients or celebrities, is always going to be word of mouth. I mean, they're not going to, while I have good Google reviews, these are not people who are finding me off of Google. And so in the pro athlete community, word of mouth is crucial. You help a couple people and then they send a couple more.
That's great. And let's take a quick break. We'll talk about some of those NFL, NBA players and what you do to help weekend warriors on the You and Your Doctor show.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027. Or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. Always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome back to You and Your Doctor, Living a Longer and Healthier Life show. We're here with Dr. Sandra Doman. She's a DC, Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center. They are in Miami, 2450 Northeast Miami Gardens Drive, Suite 103, 305-932-2218. But jot this down, drdoman.com, drdoman.com. Ton of info there as well. And that's how I found out what I'm going to ask you the next question. You have pictures of you treating Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade. There's some NFL defensive linemen as well. So a lot of pro sports athletes are coming to you for care as well. Is it different treating an athlete versus the common population or weekend warrior? And we'll get into weekend warrior a little bit too, but is there a different mindset that you have as a chiropractor?
I would say the biggest difference in terms of the mindset when you're dealing with a pro athlete is it's not just that they're trying to get out of pain, but they're also trying to optimize function. So if you can think about, tuning up a Lamborghini instead of, a Honda Accord. These are people that are going for performance. So when I'm dealing with my pro athletes, it's not just a question of whether or not they made it to their professional league, whatever the league is, whatever it is, if it's soccer, if it's football. I'm seeing a lot of ballet dancers right now. It's being able to use, the highest level of performance, but also stay in the game and not be injured. So a lot of the work that we do with pro athletes is also helping to tune them up and keep them well for the duration of their career.
I was so excited about that question. I forgot to mention some of the other athletes, but I had that one circled. I played football, so Kendall Langford, St. Louis Rams defensive end. I definitely know that name. I played defensive line, so that's really neat. Henry Melton, Chicago Bears defensive end. John Offerdahl, wow, the former Miami Dolphins great linebacker. NFL veteran. You helped him with a pre-golf round stretch for the John Offerdahl at the Dwight Stevenson Hall of Fame Classic. And Dwight Stevenson is a former Miami Dolphin, too. Antonio Brown, my opinion, best receiver in the game right now in NFL, former Pittsburgh Steelers, now with the Oakland Raiders. And David Bruton as well, Denver Broncos safety. And I know there's many more, including Stephen Tulloch, Detroit Lions linebacker. There's many more, but these are the ones that are on the website that you'll see. Now, kind of mentioned golf a few times today with the book and whatnot, and we're talking about weekend warriors, and this is kind of something else that I'm finding out as well as you age, all that twisting in the golf swing. Does that seem to, kind of cause a few ailments that maybe walk or struggle to make it into your office with pain?
Yeah, if you're going to be swinging a golf club or even a tennis racket thousands of times in one direction, you have to imagine that the body is going to start to compensate, whether that's through lock joints on one side or muscle spasms on one side. And so that's what we focus on is, number one, rebalancing and aligning the body. And then number two, we have a program for golfers and tennis players to help give therapeutic exercise that's going to help to balance them out so that they can play without injury.
Now, for everyone, weekend warriors or everyone else, do you take insurance? How does that work with
Yeah, I accept all out-of-network insurance.
Nice.
So that means that we check the patient's insurance, and if they have a deductible, they have to meet the deductible. If they don't have out-of-network coverage, we can work with them fee for service, in which case we can give a time of service discount or a payment plan, whatnot. And then we also accept auto insurance.
Nice, you have options. Because that's a good point there too. Because a lot of car accidents cause ailments. I didn't even think of that before. Do you treat a lot of those type of?
So I don't do a lot of auto accidents, but I do treat whiplash in my practice. As Floridians should know, you have 14 days to see a doctor after an accident, whether or not you are at fault, to initiate the benefits. And I would highly recommend that if you were even in a small accident, is go get checked out by a doctor, because when it comes to whiplash, a lot of the pain and stiffness doesn't come until well after the 14 days, once the scar tissue starts to set into the sprain strains, the deep sprain strains that come from whiplash injury.
Thank you for reiterating that. That's great info as well. Dr. Sandra Doman, Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center. She's a certified registered yoga teacher for physician-supervised yoga. So you do the yoga right there, as well as will you ever do any events or, like, say, hypothetically, a development association, a residential association, have you comers?
So we do everything on site now. The patients come to our practice, and I don't actually teach the classes or the sessions anymore. I have yoga instructors that I have trained to work with orthopedic injuries, and so they do the yoga therapy right on site in the practice for the patients, which includes physical therapy embedded into the yoga practice, as well as meditation and learning new stress relief techniques.
Now, we mentioned yoga for a different type of ailments. Is it used also for back pain?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. Is that one of the big ones?
Yeah.
So back, neck. We talked a little bit about tennis elbow and golf and golf injuries. So shoulder, elbow.
Everything. We do all orthopedics from head to toe.
And what is a typical session? Is it? Are you manipulating the muscles or joints, or is? I know a lot of people, and I heard you say this before, associate chiropractor work with cracking.
Yeah.
Is that?
So the answer is it depends. You know, I could see anybody from a 25-year-old football player to a 36-year-old pregnant woman to a 12-year-old ballerina. So the answer is it depends. A patient comes into the practice. I do full orthopedic, neurological, and chiropractic exam, as well as taking the history. And from there, we can figure out together what the best course of treatment is going to be for them. It could be chiropractic, the non-cracking, or the cracking techniques. It could be manual physical therapy. It could be yoga, acupuncture, cupping, nutrition, any number of services that they may or may not need. The important thing is to customize the treatments to fit the patient as well as the injury.
We're here with Dr. Sandra Doman, drdoman.com, drdoman.com. And we have a few more minutes. We are giving away a book, 1-888-565-1470, so please call in. Now, you mentioned pregnancy, so seeing a chiropractor can help women with their pregnancy?
Oh, big time, big time. For two reasons, as a mother of a 3-year-old. I love treating pregnant women because, again, something that's common but not normal is low back pain during pregnancy. So we treat low back pain, sciatica, pubic bone pain. After baby comes out, we treat nursing neck because a lot of moms get neck pain and headaches. So that's one thing that we focus on. Is I have a special table that has a giant belly dropout piece. So I've fit twins up to 36 weeks face down on my table, and I can do this great non-cracking technique to help align their pelvis and spine. And then the second piece that we've gotten a really good reputation for in our area is that I'm certified in something called the Webster technique, which is a sacropelvic balancing technique for women who have breech babies. And so while the results are not guaranteed and we don't touch anywhere on the baby or the belly, if a woman does have a breech baby and they still want to have a vaginal birth without a C-section, frequently when we do the Webster technique, it's like turning a studio apartment into a one-bedroom. And so by balancing the pelvis, the baby can go head down into the proper position.
That is great. And you also have another table that you use as well, right? And what is that called again?
A flexion distraction table.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, that you have a lot of tools in your toolbox, and that's great news. Dr. Sandra Doman, we have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Why did you choose this field of being a chiropractor?
So in my last life, which is working in New York City at USA Today, the newspaper, I was there and I looked at all the people that I was working with, and I looked high up into the different companies and all throughout New York, and I determined that while I love working in business at that time, I actually really wanted to spend the rest of my life teaching people how to stay well. So I had to go back to undergrad, do all my pre-med prereqs, and then I decided to go to chiropractic school because my father is a medical doctor, and I looked at all the different healthcare specialties, and I was most drawn to chiropractic because it's a primary care limited physician, which means that I can do all types of treatments and management, but without drugs and surgery.
Thank you. We're Dr. Sandra Doman. Thank you so much. Miami Sports Chiropractic and Yoga Center, drdoman.com, 2450 Northeast Miami Gardens Drive, Suite 103 in Miami, 305-932-2218, drdoman.com, drdoman.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Doman.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on the You and Your Doctor Living a Longer and Healthier Life show.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life.